Hello children, in this video we will be doing Unit 4.2 Unke Munke Timpetoo. This lesson is written by Shigran Shrivastava from some short stories. Now children, let's see some of the hard words in this lesson. The first word is mocking. Mocking means making fun of. Second word is piercing eyes. It means eyes that look carefully and sharply at someone or something. Aerial roots, which means roots that grow above the ground. Froze, it means stood still in fear and shock. Hard eyes, which means unfeeling eyes. So now children, this is a very interesting story about two boys where they believe in some magic, where they believe that some magic can bring them a gift. Let's see and understand this story. So what happens is, there were these two boys. One was Muk and the other boy's name is Rohan. So Rohan's birthday was just around the corner. Okay? And then he was wanting a very nice gift. He was thinking that this time his parents might give him something very good. So it will be fantastic birthday this year, I said in a mocking tone. Now this story is being told by the narrator, that is the author. So Rohan is speaking his own story. All I will get is a pair of shoes. So now Rohan is just telling what his birthday would like be. He thinks that he will get a gift on his birthday, that is a pair of shoes and a hand knitted pullover. I had asked for a table tennis. So Rohan had asked his mother or his parents the table tennis. Okay, he wanted the birthday gift as a table tennis, but his mother said that it was not possible this year, as maybe the budget wasn't there or something like that. So they did not say, they said that this would not be possible this year, maybe next year. So his friend Muk, he was looking at him very thoughtfully. Okay, he was thinking something. So he came a little closer towards Rohan and he says something to him. Okay. Then Rohan says, I don't say I believe in it, but my cousin, so Muk who is there, he tells something to Rohan. But Rohan says he does not believe in all these kind of things, that is magic and superstition. But Muk says that what is wrong in this? But my cousin said it works. Muk says that his cousin says that there is this magic which can work, through which you can get your table tennis as your birthday gift. And he says that what is a harm? Okay, there is no harm in trying a little magic where no one gets hurt. So Rohan asked, what are you talking about? What is it that you want me to try? Okay, so he asked like that. Well, my cousin said, if you're really wanting something badly, all you have to do is to run. So there was something that Muk had in his mind, which his cousin also thought would work. So what was that magic which they had to do, or what was the thing that they had to do? So Rohan had to run around a banyan tree at the midnight, okay, like right at 12 a.m. And he had to chant 17 times 3 words, that is Unke Munke Timpetoo. These were the 3 magical words which Muk was telling Rohan to repeat it 17 times while he ran across the banyan tree at 12 o'clock at midnight. I desperately wanted my wish to come true. Still, I asked. He says, the author, that is Rohan, he wanted that table tennis very much. Okay, he wanted that table tennis. But He did not believe in all of these. He thought, and he even asked his friend Mook, that why was it that he had to run only 17 times, and why was it necessary that he had to go in the midnight only? Why not in the daytime? So he was asking certain questions to Mook. So Mook replied saying that he does not know all these things. He only knows that there is a magic where if he tries, maybe his wish may come true. And he says that this is how it is done. If you want your table tennis, so what is there? What is the harm in doing this thing? I thought it was all nonsense. Rohan was not believing in this. He thought that all of this was a nonsense. Besides, I couldn't think of any banyan tree in our neighborhood. So Rohan, who was there, he was thinking to himself. As I told you earlier also, this story is from Rohan's mouth. He is telling the story. So he is thinking that how is this possible? Because they are living in the modern world. So he does not believe in these kind of magics. He also thinks that anyways, even if he wanted to try any kind of this magic, there wasn't any banyan tree nearby near his house. So, but he said that there was one old banyan tree which was in the garden of Mrs. Groover, okay, who was a very dangerous person. Dangerous means she used to be very strict. Everybody used to get scared of her, and no one dared to enter her garden. And that also in the midnight. It wasn't possible. Mrs. Groover had been the principal. Okay, she was a principal of the school till the previous year. So whose principal she was? She was a principal of Mook and Rohan, and she was a very strict principal. She used to stare at students. Her eyes were green, and a little stare at the mischievous boys or girls, they used to get scared of her. So he is giving an example of Rinku Lal of class 10, who was a class mischievous boy. So one stare by Mrs. Groover, and he also used to be quiet and obey and behave himself. So she was a very strict woman. I had seen it happen with my own eyes. So Rohan is saying that everybody gets scared of Mrs. Groover. How can we even, try and go into her garden, and that also run 17 times telling Unke, Munke, Timpetoo. However, the thought kept haunting me till the day before my birthday, and I just could not think of anything else. So Rohan was thinking that should he do it or he should not. He was confused because one thing is he didn't believe in that, and second thing, he badly wanted the table tennis. Okay, I said to Mook, if you come along with me, I will go to Mrs. Groover's garden tonight and do it. So finally, Rohan thought that he will do this thing. But he had one condition. He asked Mook to come along with him to Mrs. Groover's garden. But Mook, who was there, he said, why should I come? Okay, it's your wish, it's your secret wish. You have to go and do it. You go and do it. So Rohan said, come on, let us go and wish for my table tennis. He forced Mook to come along with him. So at 10 minutes to 12, that is, there was 10 minutes for the clock to strike 12 at midnight. So Mook and Rohan met at the backside of old Mrs. Groover's garden. Okay, this Mrs. Groover who was there, she was old. So both of them climbed and sat on the boundary wall of Mrs. Groover's garden wall. They sat there. They looked down at the garden, which was very dark, and because it was like just around to be a midnight, it was very silent, and the light was very dim, and there was moonlight. And there was a banyan tree. Its roots, you all know banyan tree has long roots, right? So its roots were swaying in the breeze. It was, like dancing in the breeze at the night. So they both of them jumped down and they reached near the tree, and they looked carefully to see if no one is awake. They were scared because if Mrs. Groover got up, she would really shout at them. So they thought, and they were looking here and there so that no one would look at them. Whispered and pointed at Mrs. Groover's house. Nobody is awake at this ghostly hour. So Rohan was very scared and very nervous. He was looking here and there if anyone or anybody was watching them. So Muk told Rohan that don't worry, it is midnight and everybody might be sleeping. Even Mrs. Groover might be fast asleep. Now get going. So Muk is telling Rohan to complete the that round around the tree quickly. So Rohan ran as fast as possible and he was chanting Unke Munke Timpetoo, Unke Munke Timpetoo 17 times. He started counting and running as fast as possible. He wanted to finish it and go home. So as he was running, he did not finish it. He was running, he ran over and over. He felt a bit scared. That was why he tried to get over it very quickly. He increased his chanting also. Okay, as he was running, he increased the speed of his chanting. And all the while, he went on listening to the sounds of the night. So in the night, you can hear some noises, no, of the breeze or of the, some birds or something like that. Small animals which are awake, at night. You can hear certain noises. So Rohan could hear these kind of noises while he was taking his rounds. But suddenly, while he was running, there was a very loud, ferocious means what? Angry. Okay, was a very loud bark by a dog. Tor means what? Tor means it was very silent. Okay, in the night time it be very silent, right? So that is why suddenly there was a barking that tore that stillness and silence of that night. And Rohan froze. He couldn't understand what he should do. He just stopped there and he freezed at his place. Now Mrs. Groover, she got up and she opened and switched on her lights and she flashed the lights on the outdoor and pushed open the door and she came out. Who is there? She came out and shouted loudly, who is there? And she told, answer or she will send the dog towards them, whoever is there. Now Muk, who was there, he mumbled, saying something. But Muk, who was there, Rohan just was standing there. He couldn't even move because he was very scared. But Muk, who was there, he did not stand. He just climbed the tree. He was climbing the tree. When he saw Mrs. Groover bend down to unleash the dog, he pleaded, Rohan, he pleaded, please don't send the dog at us. I will explain everything. So Rohan said that do not send the dog to us. He will tell why they were here at the midnight time. So Mrs. Groover said, okay, fine, you all need to speak soon. She told that she would listen to what they wanted to say. Mrs. Groover shouted, I told her everything. So Rohan told her everything why they were there at that time. I feared she might not believe me. So Rohan and Muk she had a very dangerous history because she was a strict woman and she had been the principal of both of them till the previous year. So they were very scared that now Mrs. Groover would shout at them. But no, she heard and listened to them very nicely. She heard that what they had to say. So she finally, and you believe in Unke Munke Timpetoo? So when they told their story to Mrs. Groover, she told them that do you all believe in such kind of thing? So do you think it will help you? So she was thinking that how could they believe in these things? I hope it will. She returned. If you believe so, go and finish your rounds. So she did not shout at them. She did not tell them anything. She just asked that if you believe in this 3 words, that is Unke Munke Timpetoo, then go and finish all of your rounds. Because when earlier Rohan was running, he had finished only 11 rounds. There were some more rounds that were left to be completed in order for his wish to be completed. So Mrs. Groover asked Rohan to complete his 6 rounds and then go home straight away. I swore that I would never return, and then the great moment came. I opened my gifts. So now what happened? As soon as he finished his rounds, Rohan finished his rounds, he went home and he promised himself, he swore to himself that he would never ever go to Mrs. Groover's place again. He was so scared, even though she did not shout at them, but he was very scared. And then it was the next day, the day of his birthday, and he was very happy because he was opening his gifts. He was very happy. He opened the first gift. In that gift was a new pair of shoes, and there was a hand knitted pullover which was given by his parents. And then he saw something else also was there. There was a parcel. It was a very big parcel. I had never received such a big parcel. Rohan is telling to himself that he never received such a big parcel. And on that parcel, there were these 3 words written. That is those magical words. That is Unke, Munke, Timpetoo. Now, Muk, who was there, he was also there. So Rohan stared at Muk. He thought that maybe Muk has given that parcel or the gift to him. And he looked as surprised. Even Muk was very surprised. Who might have given it? So it wasn't Muk. My mother also asked. That is, Rohan's mother asked, who is Unke, Munke, Timpetoo? So she felt that this name is very unusual, very weird. Then Rohan said, yes, it's very weird or unusual name. And he just bent over and he began to remove the packaging. He opened the parcel. And as he was opening the strings and he was removing or tearing down the paper, he saw there was a colorful gift wrapping and found what was inside it. There was a table tennis which he had wished for. Remember, in his midnight where he had gone for that rounds with that 3 words, magical words, and today he got his wish. That is the table tennis. It was not a brand new table tennis. So when he opened it, he saw that the table tennis which he received wasn't brand new, but finally he was happy that he got it. He did not think that it was old or new. He just wanted it. It was his wish. I whispered, just wow. Till today Muk swears he has nothing to do with it. So Rohan always used to ask Muk, was it you who gave me this table tennis? Muk always said, no, I haven't given it to you. And so did his parents. None of them gave this gift to Rohan. He always wondered who might have given this to him. He had thought once, is it Mrs. Groover? Did she give it to him? Or did she, give this present to her because she knew what was it and she knew the story behind that Unke, Munke, Timpetoo. So he wondered for a very long time. And one day, he gathered some of his courage. He was very scared to go again to Mrs. Groover's house. So he gathered his courage and he went to meet Mrs. Groover. I used the front gate. So he went inside the front gate and he rang the bell. He had gone over my lines. That means he had practiced some of his lines because he got very scared of Mrs. Groover. So he practiced some of the lines before going to Mrs. Groover's house. But as soon as she opened the gate and she saw him, her pale green eyes, and Rohan forgot all his lines. Okay, he was just stammering. He couldn't understand what he should say. And then he wished her, good afternoon, madam. Do you have sorry? So he forgot all of his lines. He couldn't understand what he should speak because he was always scared of Mrs. Groover. Mrs. Groover continued to look at me with a strong look. So Mrs. Groover also was looking at Rohan. And she replied very softly. And she was serious. She was not making any fun. She was soft and very serious. Yes, I do believe in Unke, Munke, Timpetoo. So Rohan had asked her that, do you believe in these 3 words? So Mrs. Groover says that yes, she likes or she believes in these 3 magical words. I had wished to have somebody over for tea today. So she is telling to Rohan that she had thought that there might be somebody who might come to her house, and it was Rohan and Muk. And here you are. Now, isn't it perfect example of Unke Munke Timpetoo? She smiled and she looked so different, almost human. Now Rohan saw her this side, that is her so gentle side of Mrs. Groover for the first time, because he had always seen her very strict and very like she used to always shout and be very strict. He had never seen her so soft and gentle. So today, when he saw Mrs. Groover so good and so gentle, he was very surprised that even she was a normal human being. Otherwise, he used to think that she is a monster. From that day onwards, Muk and Rohan always went to see Mrs. Groover quite often. That means they mostly visited her house. Not only they did not visit just because she made the best tea and she had the best cookies, but they both of them, Muk and Rohan, always most of the time went to meet her because they liked her, because she was a soft-hearted person, she was a good person. And then we had one thing in common, that is, they all believed, all three of them, that is Mrs. Groover, Muk and Rohan, they all of them believed in Unke Munke Timpetoo. So children, magic does not really occur in real life. But when you believe in your closer people, the people who love you, there is always a magic of love, appreciation and care. Maybe Mrs. Groover might have given the gift, that is a table tennis, as a gift to Rohan. Maybe she doesn't believe in Unke Munke Timpetoo. But one thing that binds all three of them is the love and the care that they have for each other. With this, we complete with the explanation for this lesson. Thank you.